Wakenya hamjambo. Wakenya hamjambo. Diaspora engagement tunayo hatuna. Tunayo hatuna. Okay, that's it. I'm really grateful to be here. Asanteni sana kwa kuja. I know today is your day off. So I'm very excited that you took the time to come and spend it with us. And just to chat, na tuongee mambo ya nyumbani. So welcome, all of you. I had remarks, just like Memusi. But as I sat back and I listened to the diaspora stories, as I listened to my team speak, and now as I listened to our elected representatives speak, I realized the bulk of the work has been done for me. Kwa hivyo nitapitia ama nitagusia juju, is that nitagusia. So let me do first things first. I will stand on the already established protocols, and I want to thank you. I want to start by passing greetings. Firstly, I want to pass the greetings of His Excellency the President, who knows that we are having this event and has asked me to send greetings to the Kenyans in Qatar who are gathered here today. Mumesalimiwa. Mnakubali salamu ama? Secondly, I want to bring the greetings of my boss and our minister, the Minister for Diaspora Affairs and the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. Said I must greet the Kenyans, the amazing Kenyans who are gathered in Doha today. And number two has asked me to ask for your help on one special thing. What is today? Friday, Saturday? Friday. So this week, Mheshimiwa has been in Bunge twice. In Senate, and I think in the National Assembly, speaking about matters diaspora welfare, diaspora rights, and specifically about legal distress or diasporians in conflict with the law. And as we have said consistently, and I think one of the things that my team had up was the pre-departure training, and one of my team members, the lawyer among us, talked about legal aid. We have seen as our numbers in the diaspora grow, we have also seen a rise in issues to do with the law. A number of our members are increasingly getting into conflict with the law. Not too long ago, there was an entire crisis with everybody reaching out to us because somebody had been arrested and sentenced in Vietnam because of drug trafficking. Okay, among our own numbers, we also have certain Kenyans even here in jail for various offenses and around the world. And we are noting a trend where a number of Kenyans will get into trouble over things that they don't realize might necessarily be an offense. I'm not saying that people don't know that ferrying drugs across countries is an offense. But I have recently found out, as our Director of Welfare was saying earlier, that Kenyans are, as they are waiting to board at ZEKI, wanachana mira, yeah, and just keep chewing it, and then wanaweka kwa mfuko in your pocket, and then they land here at Hamad, and as they are waiting for their taxi to pick them up, wanatoa wanaendelea where they stopped. Is there a problem there? Kuna shida? Kuna shida? Big problem, isn't it? Where is the big problem?
Lack of awareness.
Is the plant the same one? Is the plant the same one?
Yes.
Is the person who was chewing the same one?
Yes.
Men and lady. Huh? What has changed?
The ground.
It's a different jurisdiction, isn't it? And the minute you enter that airplane, including Bukinya, and land somewhere else, immediately the law that is in operation is what? The law of that land. Sindio? It is important for Kenyans to understand this, and I don't think anybody else can send that message louder or clearer than you can. So His Excellency the Prime Cabinet Secretary and our Minister has asked me to ask Kenyans in Qatar. Pengine mliona nikishika simu nikikimbia nje because I am an officer who is under authority. Ametuuliza, please Kenyans in the diaspora and Kenyans in Qatar, use your good offices to tell other Kenyans, because they will listen to you. They listen to you about many things. They will listen to you when you tell them they must obey the law of the land where they find themselves. Kweli ama ni wrong? It is true, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the law that is operating is the law of the land where you have found yourself, and Kenyans, we need to learn to do that. So are you going to help us with that messaging?
Yes.
Tunaomba mtusaidie, because if you don't help us, we have talked about the good name that Kenyans have, yeah? And I will tell you this, I'm proud, because everywhere I have gone this week, and I have taken, 10 or so meetings this week, everywhere I have gone, the story has been the same. Everybody has told me, Excellency, Kenyans are wonderful, Kenyans are extremely hardworking, we love the Kenyan talent here, and that has been the consistent message. But if people continue to break the law, is that going to be the consistent message? No, wataharibu na waharibie nyinyi wenyewe, those of you who are law abiding, isn't it? So it is also in your best interest that you protect the brand. So please help us on that one. Tunasaidiana? Will you work together on that? Yes. Okay, very well. So thank you very much for that. The third level of greetings I bring are from my colleague PS Labor, and I think Balozi also spoke about that. And he asked me to tell you Happy Labor Day. Yesterday I spoke to a few of you and we said the answer to Happy Labor Day is also Happy Labor Day. It's not Amen. So Happy Labor Day. Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Balozi, for your remarks. Thank you, Dr. Omar. Tuliambiwa tusiseme Dr. Omar, tuseme his last name. For the wonderful presentation about the various initiatives that Diaspora are involved in here. And I'm so grateful to see this really detailed and a deep briefing about what you're working on. And I want to thank the two MPs who have spoken. I am so happy that the work that I have been trying to push for 2 years and 5 months now has finally come through. These two members of parliament will tell you that I go to Bunge regularly, especially the Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations Committee. That is a committee that funds or that authorizes the budget for the State Department for Diaspora Affairs. I go there several times a year. I talk to them. I have a standing slide about the things that they have not been funding. I have been asking them for shelter, for safe housing. I've been asking them for money to send protection officers to the diaspora to beef up what the embassies are able to do currently. I've been asking them for a few things here and there. Lakini sasa, you should have told me all along. I just bring you to the desert. You were kidogo. I threatened to leave you here. And then very quickly you will give me my shelter, you will give me my budget. So I'm very grateful, members of our diaspora, for supporting me on that, but also thank you very much, Mheshimiwa, for your commitment to support not the State Department, but the people of Kenya who live in these places, who are in dire need of this support. We cannot, as a government and as a people, say that the diaspora and our human capital is our most important natural resource if we don't put our money where our mouth is. Our mouth is constantly talking about what wonderful talent Kenyans have. We're constantly talking about how educated, we're constantly talking about how much diaspora makes as far as remittances are concerned. $4.95 billion last year. Much more than tea, coffee, horticulture, tourism, all of those things put together. Remittances come number one in foreign exchange earnings, 4.95 billion US dollars. That is 3.5% of our GDP. Comes from the money you guys send home. In small ticket sizes, one cousin says, we have a funeral to mapesa kidogo. Someone else says, Mazuri Amaju, you send something and so on. That money eventually adds up to much more than what we make from tea, from coffee, from tourism, from all the things that as a nation we have invested in for 60 years. So what we need to do is support, protect that diaspora, because our responsibility as a government, first and foremost, is always to protect our nationals wherever they are. So I want to thank you, Waheshimiwa, for your support on that, and just for understanding the issues. And as Waheshimiwa Rashid says, that committee is very much, in terms of wanting to protect diaspora rights, they are very much on top of things. I go to Bunge on a regular basis to answer questions about, we hear that a Kenyan has died, or 2 or 4 Kenyans have died in such and such a country. Can you tell us what the State Department for Diaspora Affairs is doing to protect and to support Kenyans in these places? And so I am in Bunge constantly, because these people do a good job of looking out for your rights and your welfare, and I want to thank you for partnering with us on that. Okay, so a few things that I wanted to speak about. And I was going to tell you a lot about all the things that we have done. I was going to talk about some of the activities and some of our programs that we already do, but a lot has already been said, and I want us to instead spend time doing questions and answers. But part of the reason I am here is to just push our agenda on protection, on engagement, on empowering, and on prospering. I have had about 10 meetings now in the last week, all of them around welfare, trying to support Kenyans, your welfare here. I've been meeting with the government of your host country, but I have also come to a number of your workplaces. Nimekuja visiting day kuangalia vitabu, nimekuja visiting day to check how are my many children doing. They're doing well, are they completing their homework in time, ama ninachoma picha. But I've consistently been told that we so love the Kenyan talent here. Can you help us find more Kenyans to work in this country? Consistently. Not one place that I have gone to this week have I been told we don't want to work with Kenyans, or Kenyans are this or the other. It has consistently been a good report. And for that, I want to thank you for flying this flag of ours so good. Now, muendelea kujituma vivyo hivyo. Okay? Muendelea kufanya nini? Kujituma. Okay. Now, I think my team already spoke to you about what we're doing in terms of your rights protection, mobile consular services. We talked about the work that we are doing in all of these spaces, including what we are doing as far as jobs are concerned for ground, mtandao, Maju, and so on. And just to give you probably a quick picture, because sometimes I am consistently faced with language that tells us that we should do more to create jobs at home than to create jobs in the diaspora, and we're completely aligned. And that is why our strategy, our 3-pronged strategy of Kazi for Ground, for Mtandao and Maju, has actually done exactly that. So for example, in the last 2 years, 240,000 jobs have been found in the diaspora, and our people have taken up 240,000. But in the same period, 700,000 jobs have been created at home. So we are very much working for ground, for Mtandao, for Maju in that, Kazi Maju in that order. I was going to mention really quickly that some of the issues, including the issues of withdrawal agents, have been raised with me, and we are already handling that. But maybe let me say 3 things, and then I will open up the conversation for us to do Q&A. I want to talk about the power of diasporas. The diaspora is a decolonizing force. What do I mean by that? Diasporas around the world are able to do big things for their countries of origin. Not just because the money that you send home is now much more even than what you receive as direct foreign aid. And I want you to think about those numbers. The money you hear about, USA funding, this funding, blah, 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 diaspora remittances outdo those numbers. So diasporians, even in a structured fashion, are able to actually rescue developing countries from the clutches of colonizers and neo-colonizers. I want to give you 3 examples and then I'm done. The first is the Indian diaspora. The Indian diaspora was able to do something amazing. A lot of the Indian diaspora is in healthcare, as you know, and traditionally was for a long time. How many of us in this room have been sick and gone to India for treatment, or know a family friend or a relative who has gone to India for treatment? Everybody knows a Kenyan who has gone, or a family member or friend who's gone to India for treatment. That healthcare system was built by the Indian diaspora through their investment and through their skills, knowledge, and technology transfer. They went somewhere, they learned these skills, they came back with that skill and with the money they made in the diaspora and built that system. That is the power of an engaged and an empowered diaspora, okay? India. Example number 2. I like this one because it's very close to me. And I could tell you many, many stories, but let me tell you the second story. When someone tells you an irrelevant story, a really irrelevant story, you usually ask them, how does that change the price of?
Unga.
Sorry?
Unga.
Okay, unga. Hiyo sasa ni ya huku. Okay, another one. How does that change the price of?
Mafuta.
Cocoa growing in Ghana. Have you had that one? How does that affect cocoa growing? Have you ever had that? No? I'm beginning to really wonder if we have all had similar experiences. Okay, one of the common sayings, at least where that I have heard, is how does that affect cocoa growing in Ghana? Did you know? And I found this out from the person who's in charge of diaspora in Ghana. Did you know that the first cocoa beans upon which Ghana has built its amazing cocoa industry and impacts the chocolate industry around the world, the first cocoa beans were taken to Ghana by a diasporian? That is the power of a diaspora. You carry just a few cocoa beans, you take them home, and before you know it, an entire economy is built around that. Example number 2, okay? Yes? We're tracking it together? Yes. The third one. About 70 AD, that's about maybe 37 years or so after Jesus had been crucified and died. About 70 AD, Jerusalem was sacked, okay? And the temple was overthrown. And all the people in Israel were sent into exile. And for many years, decades, hundreds of years, okay? Thousands of, almost 2,000 years, until 1948, when what happened in 1948? The new state of Israel was formed. There aren't countries that usually are able to maintain nationhood once something like that happens. But a nation existed in the diaspora for almost 2,000 years and was able to be quote-unquote reborn. What am I trying to say? Diasporas are able to carry an idea, an identity with them for a long time, even when other things appear completely impossible. So, good people, Kenyans in Qatar, I have a challenge for you. We've talked about the Israeli story, we've talked about the Ghana story, we've talked about the India story. What will the Kenyan diaspora be known for? Or, to bring it home, what will the Kenyan diaspora in Qatar be known for? Naomba mfikirie your swallow, and think about it deeply and ask yourselves, because I will come back and we will investigate that question. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time and for your attention. And now, if you will allow, I would like us to move quickly to questions and answer and comments. Okay? Asanteni sana. Who's helping me moderate?